From the New York Times, a headline from every day of January 1931. Hoover to act as arbiter in rail grouping dispute, Couzens assails his stand. 8 American Marines slain in Nicaraguan ambuscade led by aide of Sandino. Quick revolt in Panama overturns government, president goes to exile. Citywide inquiry mapped by Republicans at Albany, governor to get measure. $171,547,000 project to dam St. Lawrence submitted to state. Roosevelt calls on Crane to prosecute vigorously his Bank of U.S. inquiry. Goodman quits under fire, court suspends Brodsky, Rothstein's loans sifted. Governor in message puts city inquiry up to legislature, will approve funds. Broderick asks drastic bank reforms. Pope Pius XI in encyclical condemns trial marriage, divorce, and birth control. Silberman assailed on 3 verdicts, one of them jailing of sister of 2 priests. May bespeaks aid to wipe out abuses. Hoover rebukes Senate on power board, refuses to return names of 3 nominees. Senators 36 to 23 accept his challenge. Wiggin advises U.S. to cut war debts to aid trade, calls our tariffs too high. Governor asks $48 million to make jobs by speeding action on public works. Republicans act to widen city inquiry. Geneva sees reform imperative to save world's gold basis. Jailed minor girls to get new trials by Bennett order. Woman of standing framed in vice case, jailed for 10 days. Simpson quits bench as he forces inquiry. Mayor ends leaves. Fish report asks outlawing of Reds as national menace. President names Coolidge and Smith to head Red Cross Relief Fund drive. Senate insists on its own $25 million. Senate defies president, voting $25 million again. His relief policy scored. Wickersham report opposes repeal, but board majority favors revision. Hoover is firm for dry enforcement. Senate inquiry on dry report sought. Commission denies Hoover influence. President's mind is open on revision. Director admits he lost $250,000 Bank of U.S. loan gambling and stock market. Governors advised to fight idleness with job insurance. Mysterious $65,000 traced to 2 police at Fixer hearing. Release of Gandhi ordered by Viceroy. Congress ban lifted. McDonald triumphs in debate on India as Gandhi goes free. Boy prisoners riot, fell Jersey guards, 9 wounded, 9 escape. $25 million drought fund is declined by Red Cross. Senators assail Hoover. United States apologizes to Mussolini, General Butler to be court-martialed for slur on Italian premier in speech. Senate Democrats end Congress truce as House kills $25 million for relief. Demand drought fund or extra session. A headline from every single day of February 1931. House Committee to press embargo on Soviet products. $75 million in Bank of U.S. lost, in doubt or frozen. Broderick files inventory. Kressel defends Bank of U.S. practices, denies Stour charge of irregularity. Barr inquiry asked on Levy's rulings. Stour charges graft and deals of Bank of U.S. Marcus assails Mitchell. Illegal loans to officers charged as grand jurors hear Bank of U.S. chairman. Kressel denies liability for affiliates as Stour calls bank deals crooked. Hoover and senators end deadlock. They agree on $20 million relief fund available for loans in drought area. Amelia Earhart weds G.P. Putnam. General Butler freed with a reprimand as he voices regret. Indictment of 7 in Bank of U.S. voted. Kressel leaves sickbed to testify. Singer says he lost entire fortune. Kressel, indicted with 7 in Bank of U.S., quits as prosecutor in court inquiry. Stour halted, bank records burned. World parlay on silver and loan to revive China urged in Senate report. Pope speaks to world in greatest broadcast. Message stresses peace. Lieutenant Kenna banked $237,235. Police higher-ups sought. Gene Norris fixed record. $20 million drought aid bill made law as Congress passes aid and Hoover signs it. Bora leads last stand of Senate foes. British 5-year plan is proposed to save nation's industries. $400,000 speakeasy graph from 125 resorts is laid to 2 police collectors. 51 police bank accounts subpoenaed in wide hunt for higher-ups in graft. City inquiry is defeated. Later shifts of ward men opens way for new vote. Senate votes bonus loan bill 72-12. President says he will veto it at once. Both houses prepared to override him. Congress is asked to curb rail holding companies, placing them under ICC. 60 shot as radicals fight Cuban police. White man crosses the Arabian desert for the first time. 24 nations gather to shape grain plan for the old world. 6 Bank of U.S. heads seek to throw out indictments. Charges jurors own stock. Thomas tells his story of Arabian desert trek, found 7-mile salt lake. Woman vice case witness found strangled in park. Her lawyer is arrested. 2 held in $100,000 bail in Gordon murder case. She charged police plot. A headline for every single day of March 1931. Rome joins naval accord, ends rivalry with Paris to complete 5-power pact. Policeman and ex-husband deny framing Miss Gordon. Grand jury to hear them. Miss Gordon's diary says 3 sought to kill her. Vice ring theory dropped. Laxity laid to Broderick as he admits Bank of U.S. made dishonest deals. $10 billion Congress quits. Vital bills lost by filibuster in Senate. Roscoe proposal for state liquor rule starts a storm in National Committee. Robinson attacks. Smith defends him. Ruth Nichols soars 6 miles above city, setting new record. Roosevelt orders inquiry on Crane after City Club demands his removal for misfeasance in prosecuting graft. Way open for sweeping city inquiry, Roosevelt, defying Tammany, names Seabury to hear Crane ouster charges. Seabury accepts to speed impartial inquiry on Crane. Tammany Hall resentful. Demand for Walker inquiry drawn. Inaction in city corruption charged. Prosecutors Gordon case data gone. Demand for citywide inquiry grows. Crane asks Untermeyer to aid his fight. Tammany sees Roosevelt as accuser. Federated churches ask wide inquiry. Formal charges against mayor ready. Governor would let legislature act. Crane protests inquiry by Seabury alleging bias. Walker charges pressed. Untermeyer will act as Crane's counsel. Kerrigan sees plot to end bank expose. Governor to continue Seabury's power. Mayor to answer critics calls inquiry nonsense. Aid offers to prove plot. 20 killed, scores hurt as ship blows up. Movie men on sealer among missing. 60 reach island off Newfoundland. 24 missing from the Viking. Sergeant injured is saved. Rescue boats reach island. Laxity in 10 scandals laid to Walker. Charges are made public by Roosevelt, who bans speculation on his decision. Seabury puts curb on Crane's counsel. Roosevelt may ask Walker defense. 4 vice squad policemen indicted. Buckner linked in Crane case led to bank plot charge. Mayor relies on governor. Germany and Austria join in a full customs union. Evasion of treaties seen. 3 nations warn Austria on deal with Germany. She presses tariff union. Legislature votes inquiry into city with Ward aide and Seabury in charge. Governor mails accusations to mayor. Tammany, stunned, plans to fight back. Seabury to get a free hand in inquiry. Roosevelt won't shirk Walker ruling. Britain demands review of trade pact by League. Reich refuses to yield. Bastress arrested on bribery charge, first in Tammany's move for cleanup. More resignations are now forecast. Gandhi, triumphant at Indian Congress, will go to London. Von Hindenburg to rule, puts curb on civil rights to end political violence. Mayor plans shakeup of 2 bureaus, Republicans act to bar his transit rule. Seabury and Macy to map inquiry today. Mass meeting denounces Walker and his regime. Ousting in 100 days seen. A headline for every single day of April 1931. Managua is destroyed. 1,100 reported killed. Thousands injured in earthquake and fire. Many American casualties. Hoover rushes aid. 25,000 homeless flee Managua ruins. City may be abandoned as capital. Medical supplies arrive by plane. Quake toll rises to 2,500 dead found at market. Relief reaching Managua. Racket cleanup on. $200 million tribute paid yearly in city. Walker, returning today, warns aides they must testify or lose their jobs. Magistrates face federal tax action. Mayor Walker returns, takes up defense today. Job buying inquiry fails. Aides give mayor data to fight ouster charges. Tammany more confident. Crane hearing opens today. City Inquiry Board named. Vice policeman sentenced. Couldn't stop rackets, Crane admits. He ignored evidence, Clark charges. Seabury asks $500,000 for inquiry. Seabury piles up evidence of a vast market racket, rebukes Crane's counsel. Crane opens his defense. Lacked power, says aide, to drive out racketeers. Mulrooney replaces entire vice squad. A new general order bars informers to cure abuses revealed by Seabury. Republicans sweep polls in most of Spanish cities. New perils loom for king. Foes demand Alfonso quit or face republic by force. Spanish cabinet to resign. King Alfonso quits. Spain a republic. Alcala Zamora is first president. Nation orderly under martial law. Spain proclaims new Bill of Rights. Zamora asks powers for confidence. King on cruiser reaches Marseille. Paris cheers King Alfonso as he joins Queen in exile. Spain goes back to work. Washington withdraws its protection from Americans in central Nicaragua. Citizens of other countries affected. Stimson defends challenge at his Nicaraguan policy, disturbed by opposition. Revolution in Honduras. Our warships rush there as rebels capture town. Walker, in reply, calls charges false, cites his reforms and scores critics. Roosevelt, silent, defers his decision. Accusers ask open trial of Walker, with Roosevelt presiding in person. Republicans repudiate Fox's attack. Seabury demands record of all Higgins inquiries. Blow at Walker is seen. Washburn accuses Crane of blocking $100 million stock frauds fight in 1930. Prosecutor unsuspicious of vice ring. Pope quits Vatican to honor Americans for aiding college. Tammany's chiefs confer on strategy. Curry denies advising inquiry be defied. Walker sees a red plot behind move to oust him. Tammany to test inquiry. Cleanup of Diamond Gang ordered by governor. Wounded leader is dying. Governor dismisses Walker charges. Accuses to carry on removal fight. Score ruling that campaign is vague. City investigators hail Walker rulings. Tammany is irked. A headline from every single day of May 1931. Crane, worst prosecutor in 25 years, Molly shows by review of records. Empire State Tower, tallest in world, is opened by Hoover. George F. Baker, 91, dies suddenly of pneumonia, Dean of Nations Bankers. Ehrenberg reaches Greenland and plane to save Courtauld. Hoover urges arms cut to revive trade in opening World Chamber of Commerce. Foreign delegates attack high tariffs. World Chamber takes up war debts, called bar to trade. Furor on silver. Keep living standard melon urges. United action by nations to start business moving urged on World Chamber. Police slayer captured in gun and tear gas siege. 10,000 watch in West 90th Street. World Chamber leads move for an agreement on war debts and tariff. Wagner given up as lost in Greenland's ice fields. 3 aides found safe. Revolt seen near to unseat Uriburu. Argentina is tense. Riots in 7 Spanish cities. Churches looted, burned. Martial law is declared. Move to try Alfonso for Spanish riots. Army forces order. Wagner gives up his life to save Greenland aides. Left so food would last. Tammany is overridden in fight on city inquiry. Seabury program upheld. Pope demands justice for workers with fair distribution of wealth. Scores communism, calls for harmony. French and Germans clash at Geneva. Customs pact is injected into debate. Wheat parley to seek curb on exports. Decision by World Court sought on customs union. French call pact illegal. World Court and League will settle customs dispute with German consent. Russia offers an economic peace pact. League launches action to end world depression. Henderson hits tariffs. America bars wheat pool, which all others accept. Parley failure is feared. Soviet demands right to dump wheat at will. Moves deadlocks parley. Milliken hails radio as leading mankind to democratic ideal. Great Air Armada thrills millions. Makes 160-mile circle without mishap. New York dedicates municipal airport. Confession names Stein as slayer of Vivian Gordon. Witnesses hidden. 2 indictments in Gordon murder. 7 are lost on cruise of college group and Sound. 1 body washed ashore. Picard balloon drifts helplessly above Alps. Scientists feared dead. Picard is safe in Tyrol. Balloon lands on glacier after rise of 52,462 feet. Picard tells his story of trip to stratosphere, escaped death narrowly. Mussolini suspends Catholic action. Knights of Columbus ground shut. Vatican garden. Pius XI cancels Eucharist Congress. A headline for every day of June 1931. Pius XI charges fascisti with hate and violence. 4 bombings in Bologna. Mussolini now bans Catholic societies of boys and girls. Pinochet attacks utilities for graft. Urges federal rule before governors. Roosevelt hits passive government. Mussolini orders drive on all foes of fascism. Catholic leaders jailed. German revolution is feared in Geneva. Lindbergh drafting route east over Arctic to China via Greenland and Siberia. Germany presses debt cuts in Britain. Decree says she is end of resources. Bora favors revision of reparations. Move for international aid forecast as Germans end conference in Britain. Change seen in our attitude on debts. Hoover's debt cut hint held definite proposal. Arms reduction awaited. Italy answers Pope, charging bad faith. Truce held certain. Star faithful beaten, thrown into sea to die. New theory of Edwards. Grand jury hears 15 today in murder of Star faithful. Indict Capone and 68 in beer conspiracy. $4 million payment offered by Capone. 350 drowned off France when hurricane capsized crowded excursion ship. Hoover decries depression panaceas. Indianapolis speech held bid for 1932 pictures glowing future for nation. Al Capone pleads guilty to charges, may get 3 years. Capone conquered, federal men come here to break gangs. Industrial success emboldens Soviet and New World policy. 3 in bank of U.S. guilty, face maximum of 7 years. Disagreement on Pollock. Hoover proposes year's war debt suspension with moratorium for Germany on reparations. European capitals hopeful. Stocks rise here. Berlin officially accepts Hoover plan. London willing. Paris to ask part pay. President got data from Hindenburg. Debt plan wins French popular favor. Britain and Italy give full support. Prices rise in markets of the world. Post and Getty far out at sea on world flight. Hillig and Horace follow. Post and Getty take off for Moscow after Berlin hails them for sea hop. No report yet on Hillig and Horace. Horace and Hillig safe at Bremen too, tired to fly on to Danish welcome. Post and Getty speeding on to Siberia. Post and Getty land safely at Irkutsk, Copenhagen, acclaims Horace and Hillig. Pilot's own story of flight to Denmark. French to consult Germans on debts as Mellon wins Laval to discussion of Paris reservation on Hoover plan. Poles and Czechs accept Hoover's war debt plan. Paris talks to continue. Post and Getty land safely near Nome after hop of 2,400 miles from Siberia. Arrive few hours later in Fairbanks. A headline for every single day of July, 1931. Post and Getty are due here tonight. Reach Edmonton after 1,450-mile hop. City prepares big welcome for them. Post and Getty and their record world flight circle globe in 8 days, 15 hours, 51 minutes. 10,000 in wild demonstration at field here. Post and Getty get stirring welcome. Crowds cheer world flyers in parade. Walker decorates them at City Hall. War debt accord reached in Paris. Only minor details to be adjusted. Germany to pay Basel and then get loan. Basis of accord announced in Paris on final details of debt holiday. Washington thinks it is acceptable. Washington sees debt accord delay and difference over payments in kind, but Paris expects agreement today. Final agreement on debts is signed in Paris. Payment suspended for a year from July 1st. Hoover plan intact. All capitalists optimistic. London summons young plan powers to settle details of the debt accord. German industry pledges big credits. Reich to seek large loan. Parley in London July 17th. Italy urges arms truce. Stimson informed by Duce that Italy wants only peace. Hoover condemns shorts who depress grain prices to profit from distress. Berlin expects New York and London will help the Reichstag tomorrow to prevent German financial crash. Federal Reserve likely to aid Reich in cooperation with European banks. Berlin closes Bourses. Big bank fails. Central banks agree to help Reich act after all-day meeting at Basel. German bank runs bring 2-day closing. Germans turn to self-aid to end crisis. Plan new curbs, longer bank closing. Further central bank credit doubted. Germany curbs exchange. Red riots quickly ended. Powers to meet Monday. Washington joins debt conference, taking new role in world politics. Paris and London move to aid Reich. Parleys on Reich start in Paris today. Germans conferring with the French before 5-power discussions tomorrow. Progress made in Franco-German talk. French decide to go to London parley. Washington bars loans guaranteed by U.S. France agrees to befriend Germany, cordially marks Paris conference. 7 powers meet in London today. New Hoover plan to help Germany to be given to London parley today. 7 powers meet to act on crisis. Powers agree to base aid for Reich on Hoover's new credit proposal, likely to end short-term loans. Powers to vote aid to Reich today, taking only temporary steps now. Wall Street doubts success of plan. Hoover plan voted by London parley, which adjourns amid felicitations. Efforts to help Reich will continue. Hoover bluntly orders slash in budget figures, demands action by August 17th. Phone call from Curry's apartment traced by Seabury to Lake Placid, where judge signed a stay for Doyle. Revolt wins in Chile as president quits, many killed in riots. Doyle jailed as appeal is denied unanimously, Cardozo gets new plea. Seabury queries Ulvaney on his bank accounts, Doyle must stay in jail. Herndon, Pangbourne safe, fog stops them in Wales, no word of other plane. Boardman plane safe at Istanbul, breaking world distance record. Herndon, Pangbourne go on to Moscow. A headline for every day of August, 1931. Hoover suggests Germany buy our wheat and cotton on liberal credit terms. Thomas Edison ill, doctor flies to him. Lindbergh speed north to Churchill, 2,000 cheer landing. 3 Negroes die in Chicago Red Riots. Troops stop flow of Oklahoma oil. Germany calm as banks are reopened. Days deposits exceed withdrawals. Bankers here agree on credit terms. Reich offers to buy farm board cotton as on long-term credit. Dark age cruelty charged in system for deportations. Berlin makes offer to buy 600,000 tons of American wheat. Prussian plebiscite fails by 3.5 million. 13 die in Berlin riot. Special legislative session forecast to give Seabury full immunity power. Appeals court upholds Doyle jailing. Seabury to examine Curry in public over phone call. Doyle fights for freedom. Cuban rebellion spreads as thousands join ranks. 15 are killed in skirmish. Lindbergh's to fly around the world after hop to Japan. Curry admits phoning Judge Sherman, calls inquiry crucifixion of Tammany. Doyle out today, special session near. Legislation meets August 25th to widen immunity power. Governor favors measure. Wickersham study lays rise in crime to unemployment. China seeks to buy farm board wheat on long-term loan. Tammany men rebuffed by Roosevelt on fight for an upstate inquiry. Cuban rebels defeated in hard battle at Jibara. Hundreds reported slain. Fighting begun in Havana and in province near city. Danish steamer is bombed. Great Yangtze flood engulfs Hankow. Hawaii River covers 80 counties in north. Thousands die. 30 million are homeless. New war on gangs opened by city with federal aid. 3 shot in street may die. 3 lined up and shot against wall in Brooklyn by gang execution squad. McDonald heads 3-party cabinet to put through program of economy. New York and Paris credits assured. Governor balks Tammany, holding the legislature to the 2 Seabury bills. Upstate inquiry likely. Tammany presses fight against Seabury bills. Roosevelt moves for upstate inquiry, opening way for Tammany's charges. Both houses passed the Seabury bills. Roosevelt asked $20 million for jobless, raising fund by a 50% income tax rise. Would provide work with 5-day week. Crane to be cleared but scored as lax in Seabury report. 200,000 more dead reported in China. A headline for every day of September 1931. Governor drops charges against Crane. Seabury sustains 4 of the 27 counts, but holds his removal is not justified. Governor Roosevelt asks firmer laws to aid police war on crime. King of Yugoslavia ends dictatorship. New charter drawn. Berlin stocks fall 20 to 40% as Bourse reopens. $2 billion in gold finds refuge here in flight of capital. Roosevelt demands war on gangsters throughout nation. Chile hears fleet quit after flyers bombed it. 300 killed in base fight. Last mutinous ships surrender in Chile, ending Reds' revolt. Employment relief plan avoiding income tax rise offered by Republicans. Hoover and Roosevelt differ widely on aid to the idle in Red Cross talks. Governor's relief plan wins at Albany. Britain imposes big tax increases and drastic pay cuts to end deficit. Congress leaders for new levies here. Hundreds die in hurricane at Belize. Tidal wave sweeps city. Puerto Rico hit. Third gale rushing on western Mexico. 1,000 are dead in Belize. Hurricane ruins burned. Town may be abandoned. Austria puts down a one-day revolt, routing Heimwehr. Ocean flyers fight wind on way here. Airports keep vigil throughout night. Plane last reported nearing Halifax. Hoover rejects bank plea to extend his moratorium. He will not move for beer. Body of Collings found, limbs tied, mystery deepens. Senate Republicans defy Roosevelt, pass own measure for state relief. Governor takes fight to public on air. Japanese sees Mukden in battle with Chinese. Rush more troops to city. Japanese take all towns on Manchuria Railroad. Defiance of Tokyo hinted. Great Britain suspends gold payments today. Closes stock exchange. Discount rate up to 6%. German Börse shut. Stock market here open. Britain calm under gold suspension. Act gets royal assent. Pound at $4.22. Stocks rally here after early slump. League urges peace on China and Japan. Seeks our support. Big gamblers operated in Chief Tammany Club's police captain testifies. Murder in Tammany Club unsolved, though suspect was named to the police. League backs view on Japan and China. Drops inquiry plan. Famished Chinese imperil Lindbergh. He escapes in plane. Sweden, Norway, Egypt suspend gold standard. Others likely to follow. France and Germany unite in trade cooperation plan to develop Soviet market. Episcopalians vote for liberal divorce after bitter fight. A headline for every day of October 1931. War spirit in China spreads to capital. New army to train. $2.3 billion deal unites National City and Bank of America. Lindbergh's plane capsizes in Yangtze. Pope urges aid for idle, laying ills to arms race. Warns of peril to society. Cole seized with his gang, identified as baby killer. 6 taken in battle upstate. Dwight W. Morrow dies, suffered stroke in sleep. World leaders mourn him. Hoover urges $500 million pool to aid banks with enlarged federal farm loan system. Congress leaders agree to support program. Bankers move to speed Hoover's plan, widely hailed as constructive effort. President changed phrases on debts. Plans for huge credit pool complete. Further moves considered by Hoover, including Federal Reserve revision. Japan reveals aim to hold Manchuria until she wins friendly regime there. Stimson to act, League Council called. Capone's bodyguard at trial is arrested. Hitler unites ranks of the old Germany to war on Brüning. China threatens war as League meets. Tokyo warns against any interference. Washington backs Geneva in grave test. League pledges all efforts for peace. Secret session today to study our aid. Japanese bomb force Chinese troop trains. League ready to invite U.S., but Japan delays assent. Bandits sweep Manchuria. League Council votes 13-1 to invite U.S. despite strong opposition of Japan. Tokyo's envoy here advises yielding. American sits with the League Council to apply Kellogg Pact to Manchuria. Gets a warm welcome. Japan objects. Capone, convicted of dodging taxes, may get 17 years. World mourns the death of Edison, body to lie in state in laboratory. Japan gives her consent to our sitting in League. Tension much lessened. $100 million rise in rates offered to roads by ICC if they form credit pool. Lights of city dimmed in homage to Edison, the nation joins in the brief silent tribute. Hoover welcomes Laval at White House. Premier, hailed here, pledges France to peace and economic cooperation. Hoover and Laval confine their talks to policies to cut short depression. Bora demands peace treaty revision. League sets November 16th for withdrawal of the Japanese troops in Manchuria. Russia ready to protect her interests. Hoover and Laval agree on steps to bring world economic stability. Groundwork laid for debt revision. Hoover will ask Congress to cut debts. Berlin plans new reparations move. Laval sails at dawn after seeing city. Conservative landslides in Britain. National cabinet's return assured. Labor is swamped, liberals crushed. Hoover Committee offers a program for recovery. Gloomy talk is deplored. Hoover assails untruths by Navy League, promising an inquiry to give facts. Sherwood assets tied up. Bus line official has key to Walker's safety box. A headline for every day of November 1931. Indian Constitution on American model emerges in London. Smith plan charged to block Roosevelt. Governor to retort. Japanese see need for further attack to clear Manchuria. Tammany sweeps the city with record pluralities. Republicans keep assembly. Forestry amendment wins. House will be Democratic. Moore victor in New Jersey. Expect League call as Japanese extend sway in Manchuria. Japanese defeat Chinese in Manchuria. League Council called to Paris November 17th. Stimson moves again to bring peace. Chinese flee before Japanese attack and two-day battle at Manchurian Bridge. League considering diplomatic break. Japanese halt pursuit. Fear clash with Russia. Concern in Washington. Tientsin is shelled by Japanese guns. Our troops stand by. New clash in Manchuria. Washington to act again as danger of war grows. Tokyo repeats to Stimson refusal to recall troops. New shell fire in Tientsin. Resolution and injunction cannot keep world peace. Hoover armistice winning. Russians strengthen General Ma's army, sending arms and men to fight Japan. Briand makes new appeal for peace. Hoover moves to form 12 home loan banks as spur to construction. Ma accepts Japan's terms, Tokyo hears. Hostile action ceases on Noni River. Chinese boy emperor reaches Mukden. Japanese beat back big Chinese force attempting to outflank them on Nani. League to renew peace efforts today. Grandy calls on Hoover, landing here is avoided. Trip to capital by train. Grandy's visit may widen Geneva Arms Conference. Talks with Hoover today. Japanese capture Chichishar Station and press on to city after battle. Tokyo defies League. China asks help. Stimson plans new move with League to win Tokyo to moderation in China. Japanese install ally in Chichar. Japan and China reject the League Council plan for a truce and inquiry. Emergency cabinet looms in Tokyo. Stimson cautions Japanese on Russia. League now plans all-China inquiry. League draws plan for inquiry in China. Tokyo parties clash. New battle starts south of Mukden. Real war is seen. Japanese in battle twice near Mukden. China tells terms. Warning by British keeps Japanese from Chinchou. American to join inquiry. Heavy fighting is raging in Tientsin. Japanese and Italians shell Chinese after attacks on foreign concessions. Big Japanese force moves on Chinchou despite Sidahara's pledge to Stimson. 18 foreigners killed in Tientsin fight. Communists battle behind the Hunger March moving on capital. Chinese offer a truce in Manchuria. Chiang to move troops from that area. Japan retracts criticism of Stimson. A headline for every day of December 1931. Manchurian Accord nearer as Chinese drop vital demand. Walker, in dramatic plea, asks pardon for Mooney. Rolfe to speed decision. Milliken pictures show Atom smashed. Revolution in Salvador ousts President Araujo. U.S. envoy ends fighting. Hitler backs debts, bars reparations, sees victory soon. Madison Avenue flooded, hundreds marooned as a main bursts. Hitler says ballots will give him power. Scouts talk of coup. Cheering Democrats organize House under Gardner as 72nd Congress opens. Party leaders are ready for big job. Hoover message calls for tax rise and $500 million credit corporation. Fight over Moses deadlocks Senate. Mellon asks broad rise in income tax, also levies on autos, radios, checks. Democrats voice sharp opposition. Hoover wants war debt board revived for further temporary adjustments. Strong opposition to plan in Congress. Convicts kidnap Borden, escape at Leavenworth, 3 die in battle, 3 caught. Minority cabinet is formed in Japan to drop gold basis. Japan quits gold basis, nation divided on policy, new clash in Manchuria. Hoover says no default on December 15th debt payments as Congress debates step. Tense row in House on moratorium. McFadden charges Hoover sold out. Mills insists on pledge to ratify. Stimson urges speed on moratorium, points to critical conditions abroad. Colleagues in House assail McFadden. House committee reports moratorium but bars debt cuts or cancellation. London and Paris act on reparations. House votes moratorium by 317 to 100. Records opposition to debt revision. Lamont belittles foreign loan peril. Mitchell forecasts debt revision. Fears Reich, if pressed, will revolt. Neutrals seek end of reparations. J.W. Schatz, slain by butler in home. Women guest cut. Japanese in Manchuria to stay, observer finds, ruling through puppets. Senate ratifies moratorium 69 to 12 after Johnson attack on president. Trailer scores Hoover credit pool. Experts ask New Deal on reparations, assert Reich cannot resume payments. Hoover signs the moratorium measure. Reich holds Young plan pulled up by the roots. Bora warns Washington. Paris and London call parley at Hague, January 18th on reparations and war debts. Washington silent on our attitude. U.S. will get invitation to debt parley at Hague. An observer may be sent. Big Japanese force reaches Manchuria as new drive opens. Gandhi warns India to be ready to fight. Chiang gives up Chinchow to avert attack on China. Japanese are pushing on. Mail bomb kills 2 in post office at Easton, aimed at fascists here.